Interjeski with Rock TV, and I'm here with Dr. McGuire today. So we're going to ask her a couple questions about Westfield. So what should Westfield be excited about this year?
Mr. Interjeski, I think there are so many things to be excited about this year. I think we are off to the best start ever. I told the freshman at orientation that I was so excited because I think the senior class, been watching them over a couple of years, and I think that some of the leadership potential and some of the things that they have wanted to take on have just been so exciting and so good, and the start that we're off to has been incredible. But we have really been ramping up and building up, I think, to this school year. And really some of our big focuses are making the most out of the opportunity here and really focusing on getting kids prepared, not just for graduation, but like the day after. And I think that some of the things that we have been working on with increasing our course offerings and increasing our AP offerings have led us to this point where it's kind of like as momentum keeps going and going and going, I think that we're at this point where there is a really big breakthrough that with the talent and the potential of our teachers and the hard work and dedication. There were so many of them that they worked all summer, they went to week-long trainings, they were in here and working together to make the school year great. And we are here, and I am ready for us to make our mark and take our place and compete with the very, very best. And I don't necessarily think small schools do that. Right. So I'm kind of taking that small school thing out of it and kind of revamping that a great school is, no matter what the size, every kid, when they come in, they feel that they have a place and they're valued. They're valued by their peers, they're valued by their teachers, and the reason why everyone has value is because we're all seen as individuals that bring something special and unique to the table. There isn't a prototype, there isn't a mold that everybody has to fit into. And we actually recognize that in our diversity and in our uniqueness, that's our greatest strength. And that's how we actually become great. And with all that uniqueness and all that diversity is where we can have phenomenal opportunities, whether it be academically, whether it be athletically, whether it be in performing arts, whether it be in clubs, whether it be in mass media. It doesn't matter, that there is an opportunity for everyone to get connected and find something they're passionate about. I think that's a great school.
All right, and so taking a little bit of turn here, you've been involved in Westfield since you were a student. So how has Westfield changed in your perspective as a student to becoming a principal? Yeah.
That's sad. Tyler, if you would have told me at 18 years old that I was actually going to be a teacher in education, I would have totally laughed. I mean, I went to college to be an athletic trainer for a professional hockey team. Like, that was going to be my job and, whatever. So totally different. But I do think some of those things carry through. What I most remember about my experience as a student was people always looking out for me, and always feeling like that even if I really messed something up or if something was really going wrong, that there were people that really cared about me. And I think that that's why I feel like no matter how big we get, that it's just so important that kids feel like there's a network of people here that is their family, that this is their community. When I went to high school here, there were 106 kids in my graduating class, and there were 400 plus kids in the entire high school. One of our lunches has 687, just to put it in perspective. Right. So one of our lunches is larger than my entire high school was. And 58 of us went through kindergarten and went all 13 years of school together. So again, like we almost knew each other too well, but that was also very, very comforting. I didn't feel like I had to be a certain way or act a certain way, I didn't have to bother with some of the stuff that you guys have to, I think, some of those pressures that you guys have. Because we weren't even big enough to really have cliques. It's just like, you couldn't really get mad at anybody because who are you going to get mad at? You're just that size. And I think that really benefited me, and I think it really benefited my friends and my classmates when I grew up, and I would like to see that for everyone here, because I could focus on other things, and I just think that's really important.
All right. And so really weird, this would be very weird if this happened. Do you have any teachers now that like you evaluate every day as
I do.
you
I
had
do.
them as a student?
Yes. Mrs. Harbison was my junior English teacher, and she hates it when I say this because I'm still like kind of insecure about writing, and it has nothing to do with her because she was like so good on grammar, so I should do well there. Mrs. McLean was my chemistry teacher. She was a first-year teacher when I was a junior in high school. Mr. Essex was here, but I never actually had him for math. And Mrs. Whitson was our librarian when I was here.
Is it just kind of weird having to, like you're in charge of evaluations and stuff, so
yes.
This is kind of weird, like, is it hard to keep bias out of there, like, oh, I liked her as a teacher, so I'm going to throw in a little bit. Well,
very much so. And honestly, Mrs. Amos was my world geography, world history teacher, and she actually taught me that Timbuktu is a real place. My mom would always, like, when she would get mad at me, she'd be like, I'm going to send you off to Timbuktu. And I was like, yeah, whatever. That was a made-up place. And I can remember sitting in freshman world geography and Mrs. Amos teaching me that Timbuktu was a real place and screaming out in her class, oh, my gosh, I had no idea that that was a real spot. And, you know, her quieting me down, so I still tease her about that. But fortunately, they were all very good teachers then, and they're all very good teachers now.
Obviously, they were. They're still here.
Absolutely. So that worked out well. And Madame Jensen was my French teacher.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah.
So we're growing fast. Westfield's just, we were considered a town in 2008. Yeah. So how many students are we adding each year on average?
On average, between the kids that withdraw and move in, anywhere between 110 and 130. We were unique last year. The class that graduated in 2011 was actually the smallest class in the corporation. So the difference between the graduating senior class and the incoming freshman class, just that difference was 142. So it's definitely a lot more crowded this year.
We have the new wing. Yes. So some of the freshmen might not know that's a new wing.
Yeah.
It's going to start getting crowded if we keep adding 100 kids. So are there any plans to add more wings or extend maybe even another high school? Are there any plans coming up with that?
It's something that's always on the radar. We look at a lot of data and a lot of growth projections, and I follow a lot of the building permits and things that go on with the city. And in looking, there's a couple of unique things that's going to happen in Westfield. First of all, we are a one township district, as opposed to Carmel, Fishers, Noblesville, and some of the others. There's 2 and 3 districts there. So we actually don't have the square, I don't know if it's called footage or mileage or whatnot, yards or acreage or whatever. So we're actually not quite as big as what they are. So that's one thing that's, depending on how you look at it, favor or negative. But with on the plans with building a big sports park, that's going to take up a lot of acreage, which won't be homes, which won't be for, housing or students. And then there's another development for some motels and restaurants, another mall that's going to take a lot of acreage in the township. And then there's also been talk of a large chunk of acreage going to like empty nester homes, so people that won't have children. Now, who knows, but if all those things come to fruition, we would probably not need to have talks or conversations about building another high school.
Right.
Because we would probably max out somewhere between, I've seen numbers project anywhere between 22 and 2,600. And with a couple more renovations to this building and maybe looking at some alternative things, I don't think we would need to do that. Right. I think that I think education is going to change dramatically in the next 10 years. It's kind of like we talk about with you guys. We talk a lot as a staff. We're preparing you for careers that don't even exist yet. So what are those fundamental skills that you need? You need to read, you need to write, you need to communicate, you need to collaborate, all of these things. I think that we need to kind of be looking at education in those ways too. Is there going to be alternate ways of delivering instruction to you, whether it be online or whether it be distance education? Will there be more year-round calendars, where you maybe choose times to come in and maybe your off semesters to travel, your off semesters to do work internships, or your off semesters to do service, Will the instructional time requirements by the state ever be loosened up? that maybe we could do something interesting with the senior year that might imitate college a little more. I'm a big proponent and fan of that. I think that if 86% of our kids say they want to go to college, it's hard to make you follow the 180-day, 5-period a day, 70 minutes, sit in your seat, you know, bell to bell. I think it would be great if we had the flexibility to maybe have you come 3 days a week for 50 minutes and then do some things from home or in study groups, you know, which would free up space, you know, so a lot of different things to think about. So it'll be interesting.
It will be.
What it looks like when you're a college graduate.
Yeah. So now we're going to start getting a little more personal.
Okay.
Some people know your quote, others might not. So so I'm going to ask you to say the quote. And obviously, you know what quote I'm talking about right now.
Do you know it?
I don't know if I know it word for word, but I do know of the quote. And if you don't mind saying the quote and then explaining a little more what it means to you and how you might use it.
Yeah. The quote is, "Tentative efforts lead to tentative outcomes. Therefore, give yourself fully to your endeavors. The trials you encounter along the way will introduce you to your strengths, but remain steadfast, and one day you will build something that endures, something worthy of your potential." And are you kind of wanting to know like why that quote?
Yeah, right. And why, what should students take from it?
Yeah. Well, besides it being a total joke, and I think that every year for Halloween someone dresses up like me and passes out the quote. So I think it is a great Halloween costume and whatnot. The reason why the quote means a lot to me personally, because it is honestly kind of how I've lived my life the last like 15, 16 years. And I didn't always do so. But especially being in education, a lot of people look at when they go to work, it's a job or career. But I really feel like education is a calling to people, and that it's not just a 7.5 hour a day job. And I've always, whether I was a teacher or an assistant principal or even a principal, but I've probably taken each job along the way a little more seriously because of the responsibility. As each one, it kind of weighs on me a little bit more, and I feel kind of the gravity and the importance of that. But I just feel like if I'm going to do this work, it's really, really important. And there's nothing about any aspect of this that I can do tentatively, because we're talking about the decisions and the work that we're doing here. It impacts you and 1,900 other kids and all the kids that came before you. When I think about being in education for 16 years and the kids that I've interacted with and even from teaching, I chose the attitude that I came in with in the morning. And I could, even if I was having a bad morning, and I growl at somebody or bark at somebody, that impacts them and their day. And just, it's just this whole chain reaction type of thing. And that's not worthy of my potential and not worthy of what I'm giving out. And so I can't be tentative about that. I need to give myself fully to this endeavor because I've chosen this. No one has done this to me. No one has, said this is what you have to do. Every day I wake up and I choose to do it. Some days are easier than others.
Right.
And I just think it's an important choice I make every day. And there's nothing about it that I'm going to take lightly. And again, it's just, for me, it's just how I've kind of chosen to live my life. I also believe you work hard, you play hard,
right.
And different things I do in my personal life. I kind of like to go about those experiences as well. And I guess then translating to kids, the reason why I say it to the staff, and because I want them to think of their jobs and how important their jobs are,
right.
and what we're after here. There's nothing mediocre about what we're trying to do.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't want kids to feel that way about their education. I just feel so strongly that no matter what your situation or what hand you've been dealt, there's no victims, and there's no entitlement either. And the education is the one thing that kind of equalizes us all. And it's the one opportunity that we all have that we can either capitalize on it or we can totally blow it, and and not to be tentative about it. You know, that if you give yourself fully to your education and this time in your life, you know what I mean, kind of growing up, and you make really good decisions now, and you really kind of define who you are and set some boundaries and kind of put some core values in place at 14 and 15 and 16 does define your character, and it sticks with you for a very, very long time.
So obviously you've taken that quote into consideration yourself. So some of the students actually were asking themselves, we're trying to all get used to a certain change this year of your name, and people are curious as to what made you want to further your education and get your PhD.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I guess I'll be brutally honest with you. When I was very fortunate to grow up with the parents that I grew up with, and neither one of my parents graduated from college. And they always, it was always, you're going to college. It was never, you know, if it was, or you're going. Yeah. And when I went, I had no idea what I wanted to do. You know, I was all over. I think I told you I wanted to be a athletic trainer for a professional hockey team, and then I was in nursing, and I was in this, and I mean, you know, I was all over the place. And I just felt like I didn't grow up. My family worked very, very hard, and my father was sick when I was in high school, and very sick when he was in high school, and my mom actually kept a job and just to make sure I could go to school. And I didn't value that as much as I should, and I just don't think I really capitalized on my undergrad experience, and I don't feel like it really honored my mom and dad and their commitment to my education. Not because I intentionally did it, but because I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And didn't make the grades I needed to. I was tentative. I did not give myself fully to my endeavor. When I was an undergrad in Bloomington, I played a lot, and like I said, I was just kind of scattered. And it's one of those things, Tyler, that's just always kind of nagged at me, you know, that I really didn't do that right. And so I always kind of, I believe in learning. I believe in lifelong learning. I believe you can always kind of improve yourself. And there was part of me that thought if you would have said 2 years, or I'm sorry, 4 years ago when I started this, there's probably, I wasn't sure that I would even finish it. And I just thought, this is something I really want to try to do, and a challenge that I just really want to see if I could do. And like I said, just to kind of culminate in honoring, you know, my parents and what they kind of done for me, and kind of do my education right, and try to be a good model as far as, you know, when we talk about lifelong learning and you can always improve yourself and get better. I think that was a piece of it. And then probably the third component was it was deep down something I wasn't sure that I could do, and I wanted to see if I could. Yeah.
So I mean, you're proving more and more that you're a hard worker. So I'm, you know, especially as a principal of a high school, you know, I'm sure you enjoy vacations.
I do.
You know, like, is it hard to disconnect from the building?
It is. You know, what I'll tell teachers this. Because I hate for them to, like, if they're stressed or worried about something, like to go home and be up all night and worried and stressed, and then come in tired the next day and then not be their best. And so I'll always say, like, when I am working, I work 24/7. Like, to me, that's just part of the job. Like, call me at home, you know, whatnot. But when I go on vacation, I go on vacation. Right. And so I don't necessarily disconnect, like, during the school year or whatnot. But when I go on vacation, I go, and it usually takes me a day or two to kind of get out of, like, the groove and unwind. Yeah, then once I do, it's awesome. Yeah. So, and I think that's kind of why I've enjoyed, like, traveling out of the country. And actually, there's a couple times where if I find that I'm not disconnecting, I will go to the lobby and I will say, take the computer out of this room, like, take whatever. I don't want to work, like, I don't want to be tempted. And but I've gotten a lot better about you know, just recognizing the importance of it, because I know I'm better, you know, and the more experiences I have and the more I enjoy my life, and the happier person, or kind of just the more happy I am, then I'm just a better person at work. I'm better to be around, and I bring more to the job, and it's just a positive cycle. So I kind of recognize those things.
What is the biggest challenge of being, like, you personally, of being Westfield's principal?
Wow. Oh, that's a great question. The biggest challenge of being a principal. I, oh, that is a great question.
No, it's
yeah.
If you,
I think the biggest challenge is in this change, the educational landscape, in my opinion. So maybe the challenge is my opinion of how things should be. It like weighs in too much. But I feel like the educational landscape has become very, very political, you know, in the last like 5, 10 years. And I don't think that necessarily it should be. I mean, kids are kids, and every kid deserves a great education, and every kid deserves a safe school, and every kid deserves the very best opportunities, you know, available to them. And as schools have become so political and all of these things, whether it be financial or mandated tests to new teacher evaluation, you know, all these school grade, you know, all of these various things that they're always different, that I feel like I can't keep up because that is an important responsibility. I can't keep up and stay ahead of all of those expectations while doing what I truly believe is the most important and meaningful work, which is, you know, working with teachers, working with students, freeing up resources, getting obstacles out of the way so that people here can do what they need to do. I mean, I feel like that's probably what leaders' roles are supposed to do is, what's the obstacle? How can I help get it out of the way so you don't have to worry about it and you worry about the kids, or if you're you know, a student, so that you can worry about your education. And I just feel like more and more, because of these other have-tos, I have trouble balancing those tasks. That's kind of a bad answer.
No, it made
but
very, you know, it made perfect sense.
Yeah,
so every, you know, now and again, I'm sure you get a student who, you know, misbehaves, and, you know, every now and again you get a student who excels, you know. So how does being a high school teacher, you know, or principal for that matter, affect you wanting to have kids of your own one day?
Oh my gosh. You know, and everybody's kind of asking this question.
Really?
There's this book, it's called Built to Last, and it talks about your big, hairy, audacious goal. And everybody's like, well, so your doctorate, that was like your big, hairy, audacious goal. Like, as kids, your next, like, big, hairy, audacious goal. And I can say this. I mean, I do know this. Like, I do believe all kids are good. But holy cow, there are really good behaviors, and there are some really bad behaviors. You know what I mean? And honestly, like, I think that knowing kids and knowing teenagers, there's parts of it that I absolutely love, you know, and listening to you guys, and you're so funny, and some of the things that you do, and it honestly, some of it I probably should admit that I laugh and I think it's funny, but absolutely behind closed doors I totally do. But on the flip side, I think it's really hard for you guys, whether you're, you know, a good kid or a bad kid, or a kid with good behaviors or bad behaviors. I think that all kids, regardless of the roof over your head, I think all kids have an incredible amount of social pressures. I think all kids have an incredible amount of stress. I think all kids just have a lot going on. And there's part of me that I think about. I know that I don't always do the best job as a principal helping kids with it, and I think, oh my gosh, what if it was my own child? I could really mess them up, you know? And I think with children is what this job has taught me is just the awesome responsibility of what being a parent entails, you know, and the life that you're responsible for. And I know how I worry about you guys. I know that might sound silly to you, but I do. And I worry about you Saturday night driving home from the dance, and I usually go to sleep about 3:30 or 4 because then I haven't gotten any phone calls, and I know that everybody's probably gotten home safe. And usually by 10 on Sunday, I really feel good because I know everybody got home safe. And I think I'll never sleep again if I had my own child, you know. But then I also see all the amazing things that you guys do. And I think, oh, how proud, you know, parents must be, you know, to have such amazing kids that do all these great things. So, Yeah, it is a total toss-up for me right now,
Yeah.
and I don't even know where I stand. I figured it all shakes out in the wash, but probably if I had to guess, life is pretty good for me right now, and I'm kind of in a groove and in a routine, and kind of selfish the way I like to travel and play and do things, and right now I'm just not really interested in introducing anything else that takes that away. So right now I continue, or I choose to continue to be selfish.
Well, I wouldn't look at it as that. I mean, you got to look out for yourself, a little bit. So going back to Westfield itself a little bit, was this a pause for you guys or for us?
I think we're recording right now. So Rebecca, let's get it started up again. We'll do another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You guys all good?
Yep.
I think, yeah.
So there's a controversy regarding the grade that Westfield received. I think it might have been this summer.
Yes, this fall.
Could you clarify as to how we received that score and the manner in which we were given it?
Yes, and I will try to do so without emotion.
Oh, okay.
I think some of the it still frustrates me quite a bit, to be honest. The point of giving grades, schools have always kind of been ranked, and they were placed in categories in the past. And the point of giving grades is it was supposed to be a very clear system that students, parents, and community members would understand how a school and a school district was performing. I totally agree with that piece, okay? And so I've definitely been following this for like the last year or so, on how we would do. And the state gives us, goals and different things on what we're supposed to do. And we're supposed to hit 90% in our English passing rate, 90% in our Algebra 1 passing rate, 90% graduation rate, and 25% access and success, which means that 25% of your graduating class this year of 2011 took at least one AP exam and got a 3, 4, or 5 on it, okay? And then there's this other piece and component, not to be so boring here, but it's called No Child Left Behind. And I think a lot of people have kind of heard about this. This is a federal regulation. And what No Child Left Behind does is it follows a school's participation and performance in English language arts and also in math across your general or every student, but then it also breaks them down into subgroups depending on enrollment. And so, for example, with our population, we need to meet specific performance indicators in free reduced lunch, special education, Hispanic, English as a new language, and we also have to hit graduation targets. So we actually have 19 subgroups that we have to hit performance indicators in.
Okay.
If that kind of makes sense.
That makes sense.
In the past, in 2008, we made AYP in 18 out of the 19.
Okay.
Or we hit the subgroups in 18 out of 19. But to make AYP, to get a yes, you have to hit all categories. So we were technically a no. We were a yes in 2007.
Okay.
All right, and we were no in 2000. Well, actually, not to convolute it, there was a year where we didn't test because we switched from ISTEP to ECA, I'm not even gonna get into that stuff, so scratch that part. But bottom line, we've been staggered, okay? But we hit it this year. And the interesting thing about AYP with No Child Left Behind is, in theory, every year those performance indicators increase.
Okay.
So in theory, to hit it in 2011, it's more difficult than it was in 2010.
Okay.
All right? So a big deal that this year we hit it in all 19, even though we didn't last year. Right. Because not only did we improve.
We improved enough to.
Yeah.
Right.
We improved in all 19 categories, which is a big deal.
Right.
Okay? So those were the criteria. You had to make AYP. Our goal targets for the 90, 90, 90, 25, we also hit those from the state. Okay? We were 90.3 in English, We were 96.7 in Algebra 1. Is that not awesome?
Yeah,
I mean, I just think that's
very
incredible. Cool. We were 96.1 in our graduation rate.
Yeah.
So that's the number that I just feel so strongly about, you know, getting kids to graduate.
And it's going up every year, if I'm not mistaken.
The last 5 years we've increased. We've increased over 10 points over 5 years, which I just think is awesome. And we were 26.3 in AP Access and Success. In fact, we were one of only 19 schools in the state to hit that number.
Oh, wow.
So we were recognized by the governor for actually hitting that number. So a really big deal to hit that. That 25% is a tough number to hit. So to me, when I'm thinking we hit all 4 of the state goals, we hit AYP in 19 subgroups, and harder than any of the previous years to hit it. If this new grading scale is supposed to communicate how your school's performing, what type of grade do you think that would indicate Westfield High School would get?
An A.
Right, because we hit essentially 19 categories and 4. We were given a C.
See, and that's what most people are wondering is like,
that's
how?
where, and so that's where I get really frustrated. And the reason why is because we did not make AYP consecutively in 2 years. So
improvement doesn't count, I guess.
I guess, or being 97% or above 90 in all your existing categories or whatnot. So so basically, going back the 2 years, this started back in 2007, 2008. So the way I've tried to explain it to Tyler is it would almost be like you taking a test in math, let's just say, in 7th grade, and maybe you didn't do so well on it, and then you take a calculus exam your senior year, and Mrs. Mangus comes and tells you, Tyler, I'm sorry, I know that you hit this calculus exam out of the ballpark, but because of your performance on your 7th grade math test, I'm sorry, but the highest grade I can give you is a C.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, it is what it is. And I'm a rule follower. I ask you guys to be a rule follower. I try to follow the rules too. But I think where this one kind of gets me and really frustrates me is it doesn't reflect the hard work of the teachers and the kids here. And that's where I feel like I need to advocate, because I do think public education is really under attack. And I think a lot of people see a C and they think average, and they think they're not doing a lot of things right. And I am not saying we're perfect, and that's kind of what I'm always talking about. We want to go good to great, and why we've set new targets, and why we're trying to get even, become even better, and why we're trying to push you guys, and all these things. So we have a lot of things to work on and improve. But I just don't think that accurately reflects the hard work of the teachers and the kids that go to school here. Right. And that's what really gets me, because I just feel like if that's what the system was supposed to do, then that's what it should do. Yeah. And I just, again, I just feel a sense as the leader of the building that if anyone's going to advocate for my peeps, my teachers, and you're my kids, and I don't want you to go to a C school.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
And if you and I want you to be proud that you're a Westfield High School student.
Oh, and I think almost anyone could probably say that they are.
I hope they are. I mean, that is one of my...
I think it surprised everyone that we got a C. For those who didn't know, I'm sure they're shocked right now.
Yeah.
So.
And like I said, that is actually at the heart of it. When I was talking with seniors last year, is beyond anything else, is when you leave here, I want you to be proud that you're a Westfield High School student. And I just think that knowing that you go to a C school, that might impact some kids not like that. So.
So here, I'm going to let you tell, the student body or, the staff, everyone here, I'm going to let you, is there anyone or anything, that you would like to share with anyone right now, like if you had the chance?
Oh my gosh. Well, obviously I'm a talker, right? So that's an open-ended question after we've been going. Were there any tweets or any questions that kids came in that you didn't get to ask? Okay.
Was the most common one.
Okay, so that came in.
But is there anything extra you would just like to add to share?
Well, I guess that what I would really like kids to know, and because I the staff sees me more, you know what I mean, and I think that they probably know me a little bit better. But in getting this opportunity to kind of talk to kids is. I think that there's a lot of times confusion about why I do things or why I want things a particular way or whatnot. And ultimately the reason why is because I want the very best experience for them. This is not my school, and this isn't about me or my reputation or whatnot. That I truly believe that we are sharing this experience together. And you know, as it kind of goes back to, that's probably what's on my mind, goes back to what I'm saying, that it's just very important to me that the time here, when you reflect back, that you're proud of it. And I think that the only way you can kind of be proud of something is if you were challenged a little bit, if you grow a little bit, if you change a little bit. Like, I just don't think you can be exactly the same and coast through something and be proud of that, because I mean, what do you actually do, or what do you accomplish? Like, you gotta get and accomplish something. And I think that everybody's got their own mountain to climb and their own battles to fight, and it's not for me to decide what that is. So what we try to do here is just put something in place where everybody can have those opportunities no matter what they are. Some of them are social, some of them are academic, some of them, you know, they're different for everyone, but there is a method to it, that it truly isn't about me. And, you know I can come across as kind of stern and firm and my way or the highway, but the reason why is I actually care enough to put it in place for you, you know, and that's why it's actually there. I want it to be great for you, and I want the day after graduation, every kid to wake up with just the skills and the confidence to live the life that they dream of living, and that's what it's all about.
Well, let me take this opportunity to thank you for coming in. I'm sure the student body and the staff enjoyed the interview. So if you'd like to see the rest of this, you could go to whsmassmedia.com. And on behalf of Dr. McGuire and the Rock TV staff, this is Tyler and Jajeski signing off.
Bye.